Welcome to SVG-TV News for Tuesday, November 21st, 2017. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. There is a concern that just about 57% of fifth formers here are performing at their level. That's according to the findings of a research conducted here by the University of the West Indies Cave Hill campus and UNICEF as part of a children's study throughout the 7 member states of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, the OECS. According to Dr. Vernon Knight of the School of Education Cave Hill campus, the research is also being conducted in association with the Ministry of Education and is part of a global UNICEF initiative to investigate out-of-school children and how they are excluded.
And so for us, that is a concern. With the investments that governments have made in education and the fact that we see education as making a difference in the lives of children who are at risk, generally children who are vulnerable, come from poor homes, etc., there's a need to ensure that when they are in school, when schooling is offered, that we are ensuring that every child can have success. And so as a Ministry of Education, as a region, we've come together with this particular study, and we are moving to each ministry in each country and engaging principals and teachers and educational workers generally and other stakeholders from the Ministry of Social Work and even the Royal Police Force in discussions to determine what are the main factors that may be causing children to either drop out or experience difficulties in school. And then we move from that to develop recommendations for addressing the problems that we are seeing. Because we are not assuming that the problems in St. Vincent will be the same problems that are experienced by children in Antigua or even in St. Kitts and Nevis, where we're going tomorrow. But we are moving to each country to let them look at their own context to determine what does the problem look like, why are they creating problems for children, and how can we address them.
Dr. Knight shared that data revealed that many of the problems throughout the OECS starts at the kindergarten level, where children do not have a grasp of the fundamentals. She noted that in the OECS, 33% of students at the secondary level and 17% at the primary level are experiencing difficulty learning.
So what we found in the case of St. Vincent and the Grenadines is that while actual exclusion, and for the region as a whole also, while actual exclusion is not so much a problem, we found that potential exclusion was a concern. For example, at the primary level, we found about 17% of the students at the primary level are experiencing difficulty, and if they are not addressed, they can either lead to dropout or school leaving as a whole. At the secondary level, we found 33% of students to be at risk there. And so that was of concern to us. When we dug a little bit deeper looking at the St. Vincent and the Grenadines data, we are seeing that the problem begins as early as kindergarten. So at the kindergarten level, for example, in the case of St. Vincent, we saw about 84% of the students were progressing well at the expected age level, but only about 8% were experiencing difficulties. They were at least 1 year behind. But by the time we look at the fifth form level data, we are seeing only 57% of them are performing at the level they should, and about 43% of them are either 1 year behind, 2 years behind, or 3 years behind. And the picture for St. Vincent is very similar to the one for the region, for the 7 countries where the study was conducted.
The UWI professor underpinned aspects such as poverty and poor participation of boys in schools among the issues that affect learning not only in this country but throughout the OECS.
Poor academic support for students who are struggling. So if a child is struggling in the school system, in language, in mathematics, whatever area that child is struggling in, there is a weakness in terms of being able to provide that child with the needed assistance to fill those gaps, to help that child to improve. So there's need for improvements in that area. Then in terms of inadequate provisions for children with special needs, that is a main concern also. The poor participation of boys in education, that is the main factor. In fact, the studies show that in cases where repetition were occurring and dropout were occurring, boys were suffering and experiencing struggles twice the number as girls. And so that was a concern for us. And we even saw that being linked to the incidences in terms of the criminally charged, where boys were dominating in terms of the number of children charged for criminal activity in Dominica and St. Vincent and a few other countries. And so that was, and those are concern for us.
Two of the participants at the two-day workshop, which concluded earlier today at the VinSave conference room, said that the findings were eye-openers and will help them in the classroom.
Very enlightening, and the wealth of information brought to us by the presenters was a big eye-opener. We are seeing how the stats play out in our various schools, and I have learned so much, especially about the repeaters and how they are impacted on as they reach up to middle secondary school. And from the outcomes of the workshop and the discussions we have had, I am seeing where we can now go back into the Principals Association and at our various schools and try to rectify some of the problems that we are seeing, at least try. I am seeing also how important it is for us to make sure that the data that we present to the Ministry of Education is accurate.
It's really coming at a very critical time when we really need to pool all of our resources together as stakeholders in education to try to lift the education system here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So I think this workshop is very, very, very critical at this time.
And you think that when you go back you'll be able to enhance your...
Yes, I think we have been given a lot of information, some of them which are not so nice, but at the end of the day, for those of us who are imparting knowledge and who knows the importance of education, we are a bit appalled at the type of information coming out of this study, and that is going to really help us to really look and see the path forward as it relates to improving our education system dramatically.
The youth must be empowered with the necessary skills to become well-rounded, productive citizens. And that's according to Senior Education Officer for Early Childhood Education, Gwyneth Cambridge, in commemoration of Universal Children's Day, observed globally on Monday, November 20th, 2017. Cambridge said the day presented an opportunity to discover how precious children are.
This is a day for us to think of the value of our children and realize that we don't need always organizations to tell us how to treat children. And we must applaud those organizations that take time out to say, look, children are special. So we applaud UNICEF and UNESCO and the NCRC, all those organizations that say children have rights too. And so we're saying, stop for a minute and realize that this treasure you have in your hand has a right to life, a right to health, education, to play, to be protected from discrimination, to be protected from abuse, to be protected from any forms of violence. Most importantly, that child should be given a voice, to be listened to, because children are little adults and they think, they have thoughts, things bother them. They're stretched just like adults are stressed, but sometimes we don't give them the voice that they need.
Cambridge further called on parents to play their role in properly molding their children.
And so if we're thinking of the hashtag Kids Take Over, we're saying, young lady, young man, you're a child now, but in the not too distant future, you are going to be taking over, because I am getting older. I am moving off the scene. And so we have to empower them with the skills and the attitudes that say, you are a citizen in making, and you are able to give back to the country, to give back to the world, contribution that is valuable. And I think if a lot of us parents take this approach, then the road that our young people are currently walking, they're going to take another route, because we're going to be saying to them that you are special, you are worthwhile, you are valuable. So come into your own, become that being that says, I value life, I value who I am, so then I have to make a meaningful contribution to life.
The senior education officer took the opportunity to encourage all to ensure that children see and seek the positive things of life.
That is what I want to say, that on this Universal Children's Day, I want to encourage everyone to make our children feel that the future is bright. Move away from the negativity and say to them, within you lies the power to be good, to be valuable, to be a significant contributor to St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the world at large. All you have to do is to take hold of the good things of life and run with it.
Vincentians desirous of purchasing property have been advised to ensure that they receive a proper land survey in order to avoid serious issues in the future. The advice comes from Queen's Counsel Panel Campbell as he spoke on his Law and You program on SVG-TV on Monday evening. Campbell stated that today many persons wish to have their properties fenced, noting that a land survey will alleviate possible issues.
So that the existence of a survey plan would go a long way towards eliminating controversies, or when controversies do arise, towards having them settled in a speedy, efficient, and satisfactory manner. It isn't enough to stand on the top of a bluff, look down towards a gully, and say, well, you see that coconut tree at the bottom? That is the boundary. No. So, make sure you have proper survey plan.
Campbell also advised persons to ensure that the taxes on the land one wishes to purchase is up to date.
The government could even arrange to sell the land if the taxes are not paid, and the taxes are substantial and are not paid over a long period of time. You could always quarrel with the government and say, well, it is not you who are responsible for the delay and the non-payment of the taxes. The government will say, fine, but that is the land on which money is owing to the Treasury. And regardless of who is the owner of the land now, we want our money. So make sure the taxes are paid up. Ask for the tax receipts for the person you're buying the land from and make sure that they are paid up. Or if there's 1 year's taxes outstanding, make sure a proper arrangement is made for that money to be paid. The seller may tell you, okay, deduct it from the purchase price. Nothing is wrong with that.
The veteran lawyer added that it is crucial that persons ensure that the person selling the property has the legal right to do so.
The person who is negotiating to sell you property has the authority to sell that property. It hasn't got to be their property. They could be selling as agent. But you have to make sure that when they negotiate with you, they negotiate on the strength of proper documentation, establishing the agency relationship between the person negotiating with you and the real owner of the property. So you have to be sure that if there are members of a family who have interest in a piece of land or in a property, and one of them is coming to talk to you about selling it to you, you have to know which of them you are dealing with and make sure that that one has the authority.
Vincentian Julian Jack has come in for high praise as he takes up responsibilities as the Honorary Consul of the Republic of Poland here in SVG. The commendation came from Deputy Prime Minister Sir Louis Straker as he spoke at an inauguration ceremony at the Alliance Française yesterday. Sir Louis expressed confidence in the abilities of Jack as well as the hope for more human-to-human contact between the peoples of Poland and SVG.
Now that we want to go forward in a deeper relationship, I think he is one of the best persons you could have chosen to do that. We pray that the relationship would continue to grow from strength to strength, and that we would seek to have more people-to-people contact. You landed at a brand new airport, and anybody who has come here before would have seen the difference between what we had and what we have now. But we need to encourage the countries of Europe and all over the world to visit us in greater numbers. And in order to increase our tourism to this island, we need people who can liaise and contact peoples in other countries, including Poland.
The Foreign Affairs Minister also expressed gratitude for the support given by the government and people of Poland to SVG and the region.
But which, as it has been observed by the recent occurrence in Antigua and Dominica, we can be reduced to poverty overnight, and we seek the help and the voice of other countries to know that we should not be categorized as middle-income country, which means that we cannot get concessionary loans or financing for the development of our country, but that we are a vulnerable country, vulnerable to the vagaries of nature. Earthquake, the eruption of volcanic eruption, and of course the floods and hurricanes that we have here. We appreciate what you have been doing in your small grants to the various countries in Latin America and the Caribbean, and we look forward to continued support, increased grants, so that we can develop our economy and develop our people.
The newly appointed consul, Julian Jack, said he is honored by the opportunity given to him.
I would like to say at this point in time that, in fact, I recognize Poland to be one of the very important countries in the European Union. I know that St. Vincent and the Grenadines has strong traditional historical ties with the European Union as a multilateral mechanism, but more so when you begin to approach multilateral issues, it is always most important to have bilateral relations, to have allies and to have friends. And this is where bilateralism is so important, because it is when you have friends who are able to say a good word on your behalf that you are able to effect your foreign policy most effectively. And with that, I would say that I am here to serve, and I am most honored. I thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
In other news, known as the Floating Library, the MV Logos Hope, which is currently docked in the area of the Geese Shed in capital Kingstown, will be there until December 3rd, 2017, giving Vincentians here at home an opportunity to purchase or peruse thousands of literature on board the vessel, as well as enjoy the entertainment provided by the 400+ crew members. SVG-TV's Sharon Gowrie attended the opening ceremony held on board the vessel earlier today and tells us more about the event and what's in store for visitors on board the vessel in this report.
Known as the Floating Library with thousands of literature, the MV Logos Hope vessel docked at the Geese Shed and will be here for the next 2 weeks until December 3rd. The word Logos refers to the biblical meaning word, and with more than 5,000 titles from a wide range of categories, the Logos Hope truly lives up to its name. With close to 400 crew members from 60 nations, the Parade of Nations showed just how diverse persons aboard the vessel are.
Доброе утро! My name is Daria, I'm from Russia. Добро пожаловать на борт корабля Logos Hope.
Bom dia! My name is Chino Borst and I am from Curacao. Bongbini na Logos Hope.
안녕하세요. My name is Young. I am from South Korea. Logos Hope에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
Guten Morgen. My name is Philip.
And my name is Nadine.
And we come from Germany. Willkommen an Bord der Logos Hope.
According to communication specialist Julie Knox, the Logos Hope is the 4th vessel to set sail as the floating library since 1970. She explained that the crew members would be engaged in numerous charitable projects, such as vision testing, seminars, and outreach community projects. Captain of the Logos Hope, Samuel Hills, who started out as a volunteer in 2004, said that his crew will be also making an effort to go to the Grenadines to reach out to as many persons as possible.
Time we're coming into a new country, we're getting excited about what to explore new. Getting to know the people is our main focus, and we're really looking forward to this next 2 weeks in your country, St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Emphasizing the importance of understanding differences to bring about harmonious relationships was Director Phil Hunpa.
Although we face difficulties from time to time, we live and work together on the ship by seeking to understand others' point of view. We say to our people, if you don't understand, don't misunderstand, and do all you can to build some understanding.
Deputy Prime Minister Sir Louis Straker commended the Logos Hope for exemplifying the essence of unity with persons from various nations. He also congratulated them for ensuring that they impart knowledge through literature.
These books would not only tend to inform, but they would tend to reform. Because it's one thing to have the knowledge, but the knowledge would be useless unless we take that knowledge inside of us to make us better person, either by informing ourselves and by reforming ourselves to make us better men and women.
With over 50,000 visitors on their last ship, the Logos boat is here for 2 weeks, and it's an optimum time, being the Christmas season, where persons can get the books for their loved ones. Reporting for SVG Television News, I am Sharon Garraway.
Thank you, Sharon. And some of the persons in attendance at today's opening highlighted some of the literature they were most interested in purchasing.
To get a Bible, a study Bible, a proper study Bible.
Large print? What?
Preferably a larger print, yes. The eyes ain't as good as before. Yes, but I'm always excited when I see these books, yes. It just brings a lot of hope and encouragement to you.
It's always phenomenal to come on such a boat. Some of the things I'm going to get, I'm not sure yet. I'm into everything pretty much, so I guess I'll decide later.
And I'm looking for the concordances. Especially strong concordance, I'll be looking forward to that.
So you can preach with more gusto.
You have said it right.
So I'm looking for book mainly in cricket and so on. I found some of those, and being a believer as well, you know. I'm looking for see what different Bibles they have, and literature and religion and so on, you know.
Emotional stuff, and you know, things that we can use with our families, and could probably even recommend to families in the church. So very excited to have this ship here, and I think it's going to do well for us, well for our Christian community, well for the nation on the whole.
I read anything, so you know, anything I see interesting, something that brings knowledge I haven't had before, you know, satisfy an inquiring mind. You know, I'm enthused, and the good thing is the prices are enticing.
Is that your interest?
I'm actually looking for some business books and some biblical books. I need a large print Bible, so I'm trying to get one, and it's quite nice. The prices seem to be quite affordable, and I also take the opportunity to welcome the Logos back to our shores, and I also hope that our people would treat them as well.
Telecommunications company Digicel will be bringing some Christmas cheer to its loyal customers. Earlier today, the company launched its Christmas promotion, which will give customers the opportunity to win $10,000 in cash and $50,000 in prizes. Speaking at a launching event, Digicel Consumer Sales Manager Fanta Williams stated that whilst the company is engaged in its promotion, it will also be engaged in activities to give back to the local community.
It's also about what we believe we need to bring to the communities. So we're going on the road. We're going to go on the road. We're going to show customers exactly all the value that we're bringing to them. And in addition, we're going to delight children across St. Vincent and the Grenadines with toys this year. So we're going to be able to go into communities and give a little bit of Christmas cheer to some children that possibly may not have had Christmas cheer if we didn't come. And that's an important part of our campaign this year. It's not just about what we can sell you, it's about what we want to give you in terms of engaging our communities. And you know, I just wanted to shout out specifically our community ambassadors. We have community ambassadors here. They work solely in their communities, explaining Digicel products and services to their neighbors and their friends and their extended village communities. And that's a very important contributor, not just to the business, but to our belief in the fact that we need to take this business back to the individuals where they live, where they work, where they enjoy life, where they have fun, and that's the point of where Digicel is taking this business now.
Country manager John Davies said Digicel will also be spreading some cheer to its loyal customers during the festive season and highlighted what they have planned.
And Fanta said, so there's one more thing to talk about, and you can see from our t-shirt what we talk about here is give the gift of TV on the go. And this is something we'll be bringing to St. Vincent and the Grenadines over the festive season. And it's basically the ability to have free streaming on your smartphone 1 hour every day using our Play Go app. So this is real entertainment and content on the go. It's a brand new thing for us in St. Vincent. And you can go onto that app, you can look at NBA basketball, there's soccer on the app, lots of different on-demand channels, 16 live channels, a huge on-demand catalogue, and that's completely free of charge for Digicel customers when they either take a Freedom postpaid plan or they activate one of our Quick Pick bundles. And those bundles, don't forget, start from as low as $4 per day. So think of that, $4 per day, and in that you get 1 hour of totally free streaming of all that sports content and entertainment content and drama content to your heart's content.